Hi, I'm Gokul Jose. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and AI engineer. This video is the second video in the series of Microsoft 365 Agents SDK. We were discussing about how we can create a very basic chatbot in the first video. If you have not seen it, try to watch that and come to this video because we are going to continue the same code base. We have also given an introduction about Microsoft 365 Agents SDK in the first video, so I'm not going to that. Now, this video is about deploying the chatbot to Azure and accessing it by Teams and web chat. So, we are not deploying to web app in Azure, we are just using a dev tunnel. We are hosting the code in our local machine itself, but we are connecting our local machine code to the Teams and web chat using the Azure Bot Service. So let's go to the code. This was the code that we have been using in the last video. So we are continuing this. I have prepared another documentation as a step-by-step guide for the second video also. If you need this documentation, comment down documentation and I will send you a link to download the documentation. So let's get started. So this video is about deploying the chatbot and why Teams and web chat we are accessing it. So the prerequisites is we need an Azure subscription. If you don't have one, you need to create one Azure subscription and an active account. The second is we need Python 3.9 or later. Third is we need to have enough permissions to create a Azure bot service, resource in Azure, and also the app registrations. And optional, we have need to have the dev tunnels. If you don't have, we are going to see how we can do it. The next is like we need Microsoft Teams for testing it. The other one is like we already have a virtual environment which is created in the previous project. So these are the prerequisites which we need to get fulfilled. Have already fulfilled the prerequisites, so I am going forward. Now the next step is like we need to create the Azure bot registration and set the credentials. So the first step is creating the Azure bot service. So for that we need to navigate to Azure bot portal, go to create resource and create Azure bot service. We need to set a bot handle, subscription, resource group, location, tier, and we need to get the Microsoft App ID and password. In Microsoft App ID and password, we need to click create new. And once that is done, we need to go with review and create and create. Let's do it now. I am at my Azure portal, portal.azure.com. You can go to this website from the link in the document and log in with your Azure account, which has the subscription and enough permissions to create the Azure resource and create an app registration. So what we are doing is like we need to create the app registration. We need to have the Azure bot service and we are connecting this Azure bot service to the Teams and our code using dev tunnel. Our code is connected to Azure bot service through dev tunnel and the Azure bot service is connected to Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Web Chat. So I am at my portal. Let me click on create resource and go to AI apps and agents. Click on create under the Azure bot and you can see the page for creating the bot and let me give the bot a name demo kj and it's not available, so let me put demo kj1 and I have selected the subscription and I am selecting a existing resource group and I have just put the global as the data residency. I am changing the tier from standard to free. You can see the pricing details here and let me select the free tier and the type of app I have selected is single tenant and as we discussed create a new app ID is being selected, and let me click on review and create. And once the validation is done, let me click on the create button, and the app registration should be created in a minute. While it is getting created, let's go back to the documentation. So we have completed the step one of Azure Bot registration and credentials of creating the Azure Bot. Now next is register the bot with Azure ID. So this is the place where we need to register the bot. Actually, we have already done the registration. We just need to get the client ID and secrets. So in the settings configuration, we can get the app ID and tenant ID. So registration is completed. Now with the creation, and we need to get it. So we can see it here. Deployment is complete. Click on go to resource for going to the resource, the Azure bot resource that is getting created. And as in the documentation shared, go to configuration and see the app ID. This is the app ID and this is the tenant ID. We need to use copy both of this app ID, tenant ID. Now, what is the next step? We should be getting the details of client secret, creating the client secret. What will be the next step? So the next step is go to configuration page. We are at the configuration page. Now click on manage password above the Microsoft ID and click on certificates and secrets page. We will be redirected to that page, and we need to create a new client secret and get that copied. So click on manage password. Now we are at the clients and credentials. And secrets. Let me create a new secret by clicking on new secret. Here I am just giving demo KJ. Whatever description you can give, you can. I'm just selecting 6 months because it's just a demo one, and click on add. Now it is added. This value will be only shown once, so make sure you have copied it, otherwise you will have to delete it and create it again. Now let me go back to the code. Sorry, document. The next step is like create .env file and add the environment variables. These are the environment variables which should be adding there. These environment variables are the things that we have copied. Okay, client ID we have copied the app ID, that is the client ID. Client secret is the secret that we have copied at the last. Tenant ID we have copied when we created it, right? So this is the client secret. This is the place where we get the tenant ID. This is the place where we get the application ID. So let me go back to the code. Click on new .env, and in the env file, let me paste the template. So the latest copied thing is password, which was starting with CB. And I have pasted it. Now I have copied client ID, which is starting with 69, and the tenant ID is starting with P6. So I am just saving it. Now let's go to the document. The next step is installing the additional dependencies. So we have the environment variable created. We have created the Azure resource and put the resource details in the environment file. The next step is adding the dependencies, which is additional dependencies required for the authentication and publishing. Let me copy the code snippet or command for installing the additional dependency. So we are coming back to the same code base that we have before as a part of the first video in the series, and I am at the virtual environment and I am installing the next additional pip that is required, that is Microsoft Agents Authentication, because in order to connect our code to the Azure Bot Service, we need the authentication to be in place. Otherwise, it is not that secure, right? And that's how it is architected. So while the installation is happening, let me come back to the documentation, and this is what we have to do or updates. So the next step is implement the authentication and configuration changes, the changes that is required in the code base. So the first, let's copy paste the changes that is to be done in the import statements. Let me copy and paste it in the app.py after the existing ones. I have pasted it, and the ones that I have imported is OS system and traceback. That is OS for getting the environment variables, we need OS, and sys and track is for getting the logs in place. We need to log the error. We will be adding that code for logging the error. I am just, as it is copy pasted, the new line character is messed up, so I just come and back. So OSS and traceback is for OS for environment variables, sys and traceback is for error handling. The other one is like dot environment, it is for loading the environment variables. The other one is authentication. We are currently using this module, MSAL type of authentication from the AD. So that is the module this we getting added. This module which we are getting added is load configuration from environment. We have loaded the .env to environment variables. From environment variables, we need to load it into in such a way that MSAL accepts this, right? For converting the environment variable to a way that MSAL accepts, we are using load configuration from environment. And this is the change that we are done in the hosting code. We already have this module imported in the previous code, but in the current code, we are adding one additional module, that is authorization, which is required. So I'm just deleting the previous one and using this. Okay, now let me go back to the document again. The next is like loading environment, the code for loading environment variables and parsing. So let me copy it, copy, paste. After the import statements, let me add this code. So this is also having the same substitution. So let me, the first line is load dot environment, which is loading the environment variables from .env file. The next is the agents SDK configuration. From the os.environment, we are loading the environment variables as it is required for the authentication for MSAL into a variable called agents SDK configuration. So that is what happening there. So let me go back to the next line. Let me copy it. Okay, I'm copying it. So this is the place before initializing the agent app. We are pasting the copied structure. Here also there is some substitution. I am just removing it. So here we just added four lines of code. One is storage. Previously we were using memory storage empty. Here is also I am using the same. We are using the RAM or local memory for saving. We are not connecting into any external databases to store the context or conversation message related informations. The next is like we are creating a connection manager with MSIL connection manager, which is imported from the module that is imported, and we are passing the configure values. Now we have a connection manager setup. From the connection manager, we are creating the adapter. Previously, we were creating the adapter as cloud adapter empty, but here we are creating the cloud adapter with a connection manager which is authenticated with the environment variables which we populate. The environment variables is this one, the connection settings that we have taken from the Azure Bot Service that we have created. After the adapter is created, we are adding one another variable authorization, which is literally using up the connection manager and the storage for the authorization related info purposes. Okay, so that is what is being done there. After this, we are updating the agent app from the previous one. Previously, the agent app were using storage equal to memory storage empty and adapter equal to cloud adapter. We are changing that to something like storage equal to storage is same, memory storage itself. Adapter we have changed into the adapter which is configured here, and authorization is also changed from null to authorization which is declared with the help of environment variables, and we are also passing the secrets tenant informations as the parameter to the agent app. So that is happening here. After that, the fourth step is done. We are going to the fifth step, that is the last step. So here we are changing the way we start the server. So let's go to the code that correspond to that. We are not changing route handlers, we are keeping it same. And you can see previously we were using start server agent app none. We were not using any authentication, but from now on we are using authentication using the connection manager which is being set. So that is happening here. Now our next step is to expose the local host to the cloud so that we can use it. Here I am using Dev Tunnels. NGRock is also a way to do it, and there are other providers also. The easiest way, one of the easiest ways is Dev Tunnel, and another is NGRock. You can use NGRock if you are comfortable. Else, in this video, we are going with Dev Tunnels, and for that if you already have dev tunnel it's okay. If you don't have, use this command to install dev tunnel, and there are other ways of installation, so you can go to this link and get it done. As we already have the dev tunnel, I am using this command to host our local endpoint, the port 3978, into the cloud, or expose the local host endpoint 3978 into public as a dev tunnel. So for that I am using this command, and this is running, and we should be getting a dev tunnel URL, and this is the dev tunnel URL that we get. At the same time, we need to run our Python code also. So the next step is python.py, which should be in a new terminal. So let me go and create a new terminal, and inside the new terminal, let me run python app.py, and when I am running it, it should host the Python app.py file, that is our chatbot, into the bot. 3978, and this dev tunnel is actually diverting the 3978 hosting port to this URL. So let me copy this URL and let me check whether the Python code is started executing. No, it's running. So I just copied it. So let's go to the documentation. What's the next step? The next step is we need to update the Azure Bot Messaging Endpoint. Go to Azure Bot at Azure Portal. In the settings, configuration, change the messaging endpoint to tunnel URL slash APS slash messages. Tunnel URL is the URL that we copied and select apply. Then we can test in web chat and test in Teams. So let's go with updating the Azure bot. So I'm going to here, going to bot again. This is the bot service that we have created. So I'm going to the bot. URL. I am pasting the URL slash API slash messages. This is the URL. We need to give the messaging endpoint. We need to put the URL end the URL with API slash messages, which will be the endpoint, and we need to click on apply. And please keep in mind, you can also deploy the app into a web application or any other server, the code that we have built, and we can keep that URL here and run it. We might not go with zero core dev tunnel. We can have other ways of doing it also. We can host it somewhere and put the endpoint here. That's also good. And when it comes to production, we will be hosting it in app or some other place in cloud itself, and we'll be using that endpoint here. Already, the Azure Web App is preferred way to host the application. So that's it. And the next step is testing. So let's come by recommendation in the portal, go to bot resource, test in web chat. So let's have that. Now it should be giving us a welcome message. Yeah, it gives the welcome message. So let's test the next thing slash help. It should return the help message. Yeah, it's returning the help message. What about any other message? It's returning echo messages. So we have successfully connected our local code with Azure Bot and tested it using the web chat. Now we need to test it with Teams. For that, we need to go to Azure portal, go to channels, and create the Teams channel and configure it. Click on terms checkbox and click on apply, and again apply for saving the changes. So let's go back to here, channels. These are the different channels available for your information. Alexa, Facebook, Line, 365, Teams, Omnichannel, Skype, which is really appreciated, Telegram, video, Outlook is there. So for Teams, I'm selecting the Teams, and now I am checking the box, clicking on agree, and I have selected commercial and click on apply. Why it is saving? Let's come back to see what's the next step. The next step is take an image of logo and outline. Logo should be 32. It's not that mandatory. This is the recommended resolution. And color logo should be 192 to 192 resolution. So let's pick up two logos. I have currently picked up two logos, color.png and outline.png. Now let's go to the next step, which is creating the manifest.json. So I am copying the sample manifest.json that is in the documentation. just copied it, and this contains a page break also. So let me click on this one and click create a manifest.json, and let me paste it. And there is something messed around because of the page break. And also let me, there is one break here also. So let me change it back. It should be JSON hyphen schemas. Okay. So let me save it, and let's go through one by one. Schema we should not be changing because we are using this schema, and manifest version we should not be changing because this is the version of this manifest. And the next is version 1.0.0. This can be changed according to your uh, organization versioning styles, but I'm just putting it here. ID, I am using the app ID here. So I'm copying the app ID from the environment variables and keeping it here. We are preparing this manifest.json to upload into the organization catalog so that the users can use it. So I'm just pasted the ID. Now package name. Package name I have put my company name com.botangelos.agent. If you need you can change it. Developer, and this is not that mandatory. You can keep sample package names and sample developer names and URLs. So here I am using my name as the developer, Google chose, and I am putting my company website URL and privacy URL terms of use URL also. This is not mandatory for development purpose, so you can keep sample URLs. The next is icons. Icons I have we need two icons. One is color and outline, and we need to specify the names of the files. So color.png is my color file, so I just put it here, and outline is outline.png. I have put it here. Then next is name. So what should be our app name in the short and full form? So for now I have put eco agent as the short name and full name as ecobot agent. You can change it if required. And in case of description, I have just put a small description and a full description. You can change it if required. I have put a color, accent color, and I have put the bot ID as this. I need to change it to the application ID, pasting the application ID. Now I have put the scope as personal. If you need channels or groups as the scopes, you can add it here. Scope means where do we need our chatbot to be used? It's only personal, one-to-one conversation only, or do we need to add it to groups? Currently, I have set it to personal. If you need, you can add it to groups and channels. Support files, this means that whether the board need to accept files from the user. If not, we can keep it false. For now we don't need that, so I just keep it false. Is notification only, we can keep it false. And in case of permissions, currently I have given identity and message team members, then only we can work in the current case. Valid domains, if you need to restrict any domains to be called, that means our chatbot need to only contact any particular domains where it is hosted. If we are hosting it in Azure sites, we can keep it there. So who can access this chatbot? That's the valid domains. So I have to keep it empty for now because we are just running it, right? So I have just saved it after updating. So the update that I have done is only the bot ID and app ID, yeah, id here, these two only changes. The other can be kept as same, or you can change it if required. And you need to make sure the color and outline names are as same as the names that you have given for your files. Now we need to create a manifest zip file which contains color.png, outline.png, and manifest.json, which is the manifest file that we have just created. So I'm just going to the file explorer, this particular folder, by clicking on reveal in file explorer, and I'm selecting the three files. Right clicking. As I'm using Windows, I have an option to create the zip file by clicking on compress and zip. You can use other ways of zipping it also. I have just created the zip file, and here is the zip file. The zip file name is color.zip. Okay. So let me go to the documentation again to see what is the next step. The next step is create zip that we have done. Next is open Teams and apps, manage your apps, upload a customized app. Okay. Now I am at the Teams. You are familiar with this interface. So let me go back to the chat interface of Teams. Okay. From here I am going to apps. Clicking on this left pane, apps, manage your apps, and it should be giving us a list of apps. Click on upload an app. There are three ways of uploading app. Uploading a customized app. Another is upload an app to your organization app catalog. Submit an app to your organization. These are the three ways of uploading the application using Teams application for an admin. If you are an admin, these three options will be visible. And if you are not an admin, the first option, upload a customized app and submit an app to your organization, will be visible. The second option will not be visible. The second option is only visible to admins. Admins can also upload through the admin portal. This second option is like we are uploading the application to the application catalog. That means every user in the organization can use it. It will take some time to get reflected in another users and also our app list, but it will come in. Sometimes it come in 1 or 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes 2-3 hours to come. So upload customized app will be uploaded to our personal use. Submit means it will be submitted to admin. Once admin is approved, it will be available to other users. And upload to the organization catalog is done by the admin. So it is uploaded to the catalog for all users to be used, but there will be some delay in the deployment. So let me click on upload a customized app for now so that we can see it instantly. And let me select the manifest. Okay, color.zip, allow open, and it should be giving us a pop-up. Yeah. This is the logo that I have uploaded, and you can see the description, app name, developer name, large description, version created by another information that I have put there, and I can click on add to add. As I click on add, it should be automatically added to my app list. Okay, you can see added successfully, and if you click on open, you can see the welcome message is already been received to me before clicking on open. But once you click on open, you can see it here. This is the bot framework logo. It will take some time to reflect here. The logo that we have uploaded should be displayed here also. And let's test it here. The welcome message is already visible. It's already partially tested. And we can see the typing indicator is working. I have just put hi. I should be getting a response like go. And you can see it is being added to here as eco agent as a different. Okay, I have got a response. You said hi. Let me try with help. it have responded. It have responded with this message, so it's working fine. So let me go to the chat. You can you can see the chatbot as one of the user chatting to you or similar to that of a user chatting to you, and you can also see it from the list of apps also. Let's go back to the documentation and see is there anything left. No. So about what is in the agenda, we have exposed our local chatbot into Azure Bot using Tunnel. You can also use zero other systems, or you can publish directly to Azure Web and use the URL from there. And in the current case, we have used the dev tunnel URL in the Azure Bot Service. So Azure Bot Service is connected to the code through tunnel, and Azure Bot Service we have tested using test web chat, and also we have created the manifest.json file, added the color.png and outline.png file, and created the zip file, uploaded to the Teams, and try to chat it with the Teams after enabling the Teams channel in the Azure bot. So we have now talked about Teams interface as well as the website interface. So that is it. And for getting this documentation that we have used through this tutorial, you can just comment down documentation